Yo guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and on today's video we're going to be talking about rejection. And I think this is very timely because this week I've actually got so many rejections, and kind of Friday has just come and I've just been looking in the mirror thinking to myself like, damn, like this was so many rejections for 1 week. So in this video I'm just going to be talking about my thought process, kind of how I feel, and some of the, I guess, mental models that I use to think about rejection. So number one, let's get straight into it. So I think about rejection at this moment in time and this in this season of my life as that this is the cost that you have to pay. You can't be saying that you want to be on this journey of greatness if you are not willing to pay the price of rejection. Because ultimately, to be able to call yourself great or to hit the metrics, I guess, that we call true greatness, you only have to be right once. And just by the sheer nature of you having to be right once, it means that if you're going to play that game, you're going to be wrong 10,000 times. And it's just keeping on playing the game until you get that one correct answer, but knowing that maybe it will take you 10,000 tries, maybe it will take you one try, but being able to play the game for long enough. And I think the rejections that I've got this week has just made me like, to be fair, I'm gonna be so real. It has knocked my mojo in places. But at the same time, it's when I'm walking, when I'm sleeping, when I'm doing anything, the conversation that I have in my head is to say that this is the price that you have to pay. Nothing worth doing ever came easy, and nothing worth big dreams, nothing that is worth your time ever came at the cost of not taking a few L's along the way. Like, it wasn't going to be easy, and if it was going to be easy, you probably should have just picked a simpler route. I think the other thing to also throw into that mix is that to say that the journey was never going to be linear. I have this view of greatness and where I want to get to in my life. And genuinely, when I think about it, I just think about it, I'm here, I need to get to there, straight line. But the realities of life means that this is never going to be a straight line. There's going to be seasons where you're down in the trenches, and there's going to be seasons where it seems like you can never stop winning. And I guess at the moment for me, I'm probably closer to the trenches season than I am to the winning season. And it's just appreciating that when you're in the trenches, you know that one day is going to come where you're actually winning. It's even funny because I always say it as a joke, but I always say there's a wise woman that once said that every day the sun will shine, that's why I learn tomorrow. And if you know where that reference comes from, I found a very poetic quote in probably one of the most unexpected places ever. The second way that I kind of think about rejection is I just think about the plot. Like, we all hear the stories of your greats of the world and how they never came up from anything, they never had a pot to piss in, but now they are the biggest thing in the world. And I think if you're a fan of rap music, every single rapper under the sun claims to have lived that life. But sometimes I think like all of this is just for the plot. Like, even this video, I hope that one day that this video is a video that I can laugh at, to say, I remember when I was neck deep in the trenches and I made this video talking about rejection, and actually we're at the top of the biggest building in the world, sipping cocktails, having fun, celebrating our wins. Like, if everything was going to be easy, there was going to be no plot. And I guess in a plot, you need to have some storyline that makes a lot of sense. You need to have something that comes as a point of turbulence, and you slay that turbulence and you win in the end of the story. And I guess right now, when you're in the eye of the tornado, it's very hard to see when you're going to be able to fight off all of those demons and all of those elves that keep coming into your life. But this is probably the best time to be the person that creates your story. Like, when you're down in the trenches, you can literally define the outcome and how the story ends and what you're going to do and how you're going to rise above these challenges. And I guess that's exactly where I am right now. Rejection is always going to be there, and it's about building the mental models in your mind so that when rejection does come, it doesn't throw you off your balance as much as it should do. Of course, like I said earlier, like, my mojo was affected from some of the rejections that I got, but it's knowing that, yeah, this is part of the plot. Like, yeah, when the documentary comes out, this is that part of the documentary where the days were dark, it was raining, it wasn't looking good, but on the other side of that, there is loads of wins waiting. So one of the things that I always think about is how if you focus on controlling what you can control, everything else will take care of itself. Being extremely raw and being extremely transparent, I usually have a hard time processing the score taking care of itself. And I know that this is an external factor that I could possibly never control. As long as I can control the inputs, so my ability to show up, my ability to post a video, my ability to reply to that message, my ability to sit down and do the revision, my ability to talk to that investor on the phone. As long as I keep putting the inputs in, eventually the outputs will come. Like, everything is ultimately just a numbers game. However, sometimes I just find it really hard. Like when you have put in 10,000 reps and you haven't seen any results, of course you start to feel like, why am I doing this? But at the same time, it's knowing that potentially you're only one rep away from everything working, because again, you only need to be right once. The thing about controlling the inputs and maybe reshifting your mindset to, as long as you can say that you controlled as much as you possibly could control, is that when things don't go to plan, at least you can leave with your head held high. You know that, yeah, not everything in life is always going to work out how you want it to work out. But if you know that you did the work that was required, and you actually did the work that was required, not telling yourself that you're going to do the work, then yeah, not everything is going to work out. And that's just life. And as long as you know that you're the type of person to still turn up and do hard things, and you're the type of person that even when you get rejected, that you are not just going to sit there and cry forever, then I guess you have everything that you need to succeed. Sometimes in life, I always think about the fact that the same things that make you successful are the same things that make you a failure. Everything that we call Steve Jobs a genius for, he built Apple, he did all these amazing things. There is the exact same person somewhere in the world who failed because of all of the exact same traits. So it's just knowing that as long as you're putting those things in, as long as you are doing the things that are required, everything else should ultimately take care of itself. And how the result works out, unfortunately, is something that you can't control. But what you can control is your ability to show up. If you're a person who maybe like me has had a lot of rejections, or you're currently going through a season of rejections, I think this video hopefully provided you with some useful mental frameworks. And I hope that this video serves as a way that you can be optimistic about the future. And honestly, if I was to take away one thing from this video, if I was you, and even me making this video, the thing that I'm going to take away from it is you only need to be right once. So you might have been going through a season of rejections. You might be on your 25,000th rejection of the year so far. But all you need is just one yes and one win. And that's all it takes to completely change the trajectory of your life, to change the trajectory of your happiness. So see this as a sign to just keep going and just keep knocking on that door until you get that one win.